about my project today. I picked up a Ninebot e-scooter, kick scooter by Segway, and they retail for about 800 bucks here in Canada. But I picked it up for a song. I think it's an Amazon return with an issue, hopefully only one, but we'll see. Good news number one is I plugged in the charger. Green light, so that's good. So it's not brand new. There's a little bit of dirt on the wheels, slight wear. Kickstand has some abrasion, so somebody has used it. What else we got? Stickers peeling up a little bit. But so far so good. The way these go together is the handle bit clicks into the stem, and there is a little electrical coupler. See right here? This is a little snap together affair, and it looks like it's a fairly small wire, like less than 1/4 inch in diameter. And it looks like what's happened is when somebody was assembling it, they cut that wire. Now, if I am lucky, all I'll have to do is place that wire back on, plug it in, and it should go. I'm truly hoping that's what it is, but stay tuned and we will see. Alright, first step, I've just taken a hobby knife and cleared away some of this insulation to see what I'm dealing with. And it looks like there are 4 electronics type wires, light gauge, probably 5 volts. This is probably red black power in, and these 2 are probably communication wires. There's a little LED display here, so there's going to be a circuit board in there, and it makes sense that that's what's going up there, but they are fine wires. Then on that little attachment, same thing, took the old hobby knife, and unfortunately it's really close to the actual socket, so I don't have a lot of space to work with, but I think I've got enough to extend these wires. I went to my bin of electronic flotsam and jetsam, and I found a jumper cable. I think it's out of a computer or some random piece of electronics, but it's got more than 4 wires. The gauge of the wire is perfect for this, so I'm going to crop out a section of these 4 colors, splice them together, and go from there. Right, got what I need. Got my helping hands and magnifier, soldering iron, wet sponge, some of this good old flux. You always got to treat the end of the wires before you tin wires. Kapton tape. This is the stuff that, well, you use on all sorts of electronics. It's gone in spacecraft and satellites. It insulates. It's awesome stuff. Tough stuff. These are the shrink tubes. You need a lighter to shrink them, or even better, if you have a little hot air gun, it's nicely an open flame. Nippers, and love these automatic wire strippers, and of course a snack. Well, this is exciting. It's flashing at me, and I'll tell you why. I just stripped the insulation off the green wire, and of course I'm standing on the ground, so I think what has happened is I've completed a connection on that green wire. So I have to be a little careful here because this is fully loaded with lithium-ion batteries. This is all low voltage up here, so I'm not going to get zapped or anything, but what it does indicate is lights go on. That's promising. Okay, very slight change in plan. You'll notice that this is a blue wire, not a green one as it was supposed to be, and it's a slightly heavier gauge. When I actually stripped my initial wire, it just seemed to be a little too thin, so I went back to my cache of electronics, flotsam and jetsam, and came up with a heavier set of wires. And right now what we've got is not the best solder job in the world, but it'll do. We've got my little lead soldered on there, and now what I'm going to do is take this little sleeve and slide it up the wire and shrink that on so that'll be all insulated from the other guys. There you go. That's that little sleeve that is now shrunken in place, and that'll be nice and insulated now. Alright, through the process of rinse, wash, repeat, we now have 4 leads on there. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but on that blue lead, there's a little tiny bit of wire exposed there. Don't love that, because that is potential for a short. All of the other ones are well covered. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my multimeter, sorry for the glare there, and I'm going to check to make sure that these sockets hook up with these ends. And they're a 1-to-1 matchup. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for any shorts that are crossing. Like if one of those sockets has continuity on 2 of these wires, that's not good. And if everything is copacetic, what I can do, or what I'm planning on doing, is this used to all be encased in plastic. Now, wouldn't it be nice if I could re-encase this in plastic to give it both electrical insulation and mechanical strength? Now, how can you do that? Well, they've got these awesome crazy glues now that cure within 3 seconds if you have a magic spray. So that's what I will do once I check for any shorts, and then I will close it all off with one more larger heat shrink, and that should really stabilize that plug, and we should be good to go. Okay, so I've used some of that capped on tape to bring those wires together, and then just up in here in this joint, you take a little bit of this goop and then you hit it with some spray, and it solidifies. It's polymer. It's hard plastic. So this is now as strong as it was before. And I'll put one more heat shrink tube on the top, and that'll be good. Okay, there it is with the shrink tubing on. And then I've just trimmed these guys down. I'm going to tin them. And then it's time to come to reattach here. Now, why the masking tape on that green line? I'd stripped that. I'd accidentally touched it and lights came on. I didn't like that. The way I'm going to approach this is black is ground. So I think the safest thing to do is attach the ground lead first, get that out of the way. Then attach the 2 communication wires, and finally attach the red, because that's going to be a live one. Alright, cheers. By the way, I've talked about tinning, and if you don't know what tinning is, you take bare wire, you get some flux on it so that the wire is clean, and it'll take some solder, and then you put a little bit of solder on. And if you do tin both sets of wires, it just makes it a dream to attach wires together. And that is what tinning is. It's pre-soldering the pieces that you're going to be putting together. Just a little tip about using these heat shrink tubes. You need to think a little bit ahead, because I've just joined these 2 black wires, and I put a heat shrink tube on one of the wires before I did the joint. So now I can slide it up and do the shrinking of that. Likewise, you'll notice back here I put a heat shrink on ahead of time, because I'm going to slide that back over the whole assembly once this is done. If I hadn't put that back there, I couldn't fit it on the open end because this is too fat. So yeah, it's a little bit of a chess game with these tubes, but think ahead and don't do the forehead slap like I have many a time, because it's not too hard to fix. You just have to unsolder your joints, but it's a pain to do that. And then there were 2, and then there were 3. 4's a score. There you have it. I did have one big black sleeve shrink wrap, so threw it over the top, covered everything up, and now the big test is going to be plugging this guy into the handlebars and seeing if I electrocute myself or it works. Stay tuned. Alright, the moment of truth. There's the repaired lead. I'm going to plug in the handlebars and see what happens. But I need 2 hands to do it. So I'll be right back to you. Alright, so it's joined. I hope if I press this on button something happens. Ooh! Oh! And there's glowy lights happening. I think it works. I think it might work. Oh! The brake works. I'm not sure about acceleration. Oh no. The front wheel doesn't turn, but I wonder if it has to be extended for it to turn. We'll see. And the 4 threaded screws that were required to put the handlebars in were included. So the handlebars are on now. And I am happy to report that, ta-da, we have one live kick scooter. And I had a slight moment of panic because this is the accelerator, this is the brake. Now when I press the brake activates. When I press the accelerator, nothing happens. And I thought, oh, maybe it's weight activated. And then I remembered reading somewhere, you actually have to kick with your foot to start the thing. You can't go from a stop. So you have to give it a little bit of forward momentum and then it kicks in. So I go forward and woohoo! I almost run into the wall. But it works! Yay! Right. One last thing that I need to fix on this is I noticed when I was riding that there seems to be a little wobble. And I think all it is these 2 bolts need to be tightened. But there seems to be some play in the bearing around here. I think it's just these 2 tubes. But I'll show you how you collapse this. This flips up for when you're riding, but when you want to put it away, you flip that down, step on it, and then there's a little hook on the post. There it goes. So now the post is latched parallel, and I am actually shocked at the weight of this guy. Quite heavy. That feels like gotta be 20 pounds. But there you go. So, little surprise. The adapter is actually, it's a 42 volt system. Didn't realize that. Makes sense. So I've been terrorizing the family riding this evening. So we're back down to 98% charge. Yes, the lights do pulse, and what I did find out is when it hits 100% fully charged, that red pulsing light goes to a solid light. And I've had a chance to download the app, and turns out there's a whole community of people talking about how thrilled they are to have these, and there's all sorts of fun things you can do with the underdeck lights. You can even make it flash like a police car with red and blue or whatever 2 colors you want. But overall, I am very happy with this. Now, unfortunately, in where I live in Canada, it's minus 15 degrees Celsius outside, and whether you know Celsius or not, I can tell you that's pretty darn cold, and we have snow. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit to get this out on the roads to give it its true road test. But looking forward to it, and I've been very pleased with this purchase and this fix. Thanks for watching.